Hey there, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Spiritual Scientist. I'm Victor. Thanks for checking me out. A lot of things to cover this morning. I hope you're having a great day, by the way. So I'll get right to it. Just listen to NPR on the way to work, and they're covering the Challenger, Columbia disaster that I said before that never occurred for me in my timeline. It still never occurred, but obviously it's occurred. They were recounting the names of the astronauts, and I just noticed that the astronauts' names are different. Bush came on, they said that we won't forget. He was very much mirroring what Reagan said, we won't forget their names. But I just find that interesting that the names actually changed versus the names that were there that I saw before. Not all of them, but I mentioned them in a previous video. To get right into this, I'm going to talk about some wonders this time. So now, if you watch the movie Avatar, there's a new one. It's $2 billion. Kind of a big deal, I guess, for James Cameron and everybody else in the world to watch these kind of movies. I haven't seen it yet, but as I understand it from the first one, it would be striking a chord. People would be watching again about these trees that are one large organism. I believe I covered in my channel before about that large organism. We had that mushroom that was one large organism. Well, guess what? There's another large organism that just popped up, and it's like from the movie Avatar. So we have Avatar trees are really real now. It's called Pando. They're in Utah, and it's one large organism of a tree. They're saying that the tree is actually a clone, so the tree clones itself, so it's all of the trees are basically one tree. They're all together in one. The roots are all connected. It's all one tree. And now all of a sudden it's in danger of dying because they're overly eaten by by deer and things like that. So you're telling me that the tree's been there for hundreds of thousands of years, but all of a sudden it's in danger. And yeah, right, okay. So the Pando tree now exists where it's just like in the movie Avatar. So we've seen things that I've talked about on my channel just like in the movies. One of the things I talked about and people didn't really understand at the time, I think they still don't understand, as I talked about the phoenix becoming real. Like in Harry Potter. So there's a Harry Potter magical bird called the phoenix. If you look it up, and with Chinese mythology, they had the phoenix bird. That was a big thing in Chinese mythology. Well, guess what? It's real. And it doesn't, catch on fire and come back to life, but the coloring of this phoenix in China looks exactly like the phoenix from the paintings that people would say, and even from the Harry Potter movie with the different colorations. You just got to look it up. It's crazy. I've talked about that before. We had with the Starks, with the dire wolves. Then in history, of course, dire wolves were real. They were ancient animals. But I found it interesting that the character, the person that portrayed one of the Starks, she ended up, Sansa Stark, she ended up adopting the dog from the movie. And in real life, she has that dog, which is kind of weird too. But these kind of dogs were real. And then we said, well, that would be crazy if white wolves existed, like in the Game of Thrones, and then only a few existed, and now there's only a couple, and now there's only 800, and now they're not endangered. So good news. So that's what I've seen. What else? We had dragons. So we had little lizards that had wings that never existed before. So I covered that, and they were little dragons, and they got a little bigger, and they have wings, so they actually can, like a flying squirrel, go from tree to tree. And that was kind of an interesting one. Then we had snakes, these weird snakes that have, for a rattler, it looks like a little weird insect for a rattler instead of on its tail, and it attracts things. Really weird. But anyway, it's like that we're, as the gestalt, the unconsciousness of mankind is manifesting these things into reality. That's what it just seems like, right? Because that's what's going on. That's what's happening. Oops. So I look both ways and no car, and then all of a sudden, boom, a car. Anyway, I'm fine. That kind of wraps it up on a high note for me. That kind of wraps up the show for you a little bit. But pando trees now exist, and the Columbia shuttle disaster. Always, feel bad for that happening. Since I heard about it only a few years ago, but that was a big Mandela effect for me, because there was only the Challenger disaster, not the Columbia, and I recounted it in another video. But what I'm saying now, they said just on the news that Bush said, we will never forget their names. Well, then why did the names change? And I recounted the names on the video. I'm just curious to watch my old video and see what the names I said were, and see what they are in relation to what they are now. And maybe the words I said changed, but looks like the astronauts' names definitely changed. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, share. Hope you're having a great day. All right, peace out, Cub Scouts. Bye-bye.